It's only March, so it's a bit early for the silly season, but the Sunday papers are reporting that the sword-wielding dominatrix Penny Mordaunt, leader of the House of Commons, is being lined up to replace Rishi Sunak in an extraordinary political coup that would have even Julius Caesar and Mark Antony blushing. I don't know what drugs these backbench Tory MPs are on, but I'd like some. The idea of inflicting yet another Prime Minister on a battle-weary British public would be an act of such insanity, I'm not sure the Conservatives would ever be forgiven. And whilst Penny Mordaunt performed very well in her official duties at the King's coronation, showing off her rather impressive and heavy blade in a dress that made Queen Boadicea look positively understated, the idea that she should wield the knife and replace Mr. Sunak would only lead to a Tory bloodbath at the next election. A nice person, no doubt, and clearly an accomplished politician, but Penny Mordaunt is woker than a decaf soya latte. She famously drew up legislation in the House of Commons that referred to pregnant women as pregnant people, much to the fury of Nadine Dorries, Liz Truss and Suella Braverman. And she addressed the House of Commons with this zinger.
Let me say in proposing them from this dispatch box that trans men are men, trans women are women.
Oh dear, she/her has had a nightmare there. Brexit negotiator Lord Frost advised the Prime Minister to get rid of her because she was so unhelpful regarding Brexit. Plus, Mordaunt has got friends in high places, including vaccines and lab meat entrepreneur, Mr. Dystopia himself, obese health guru Bill Gates. Gates contributed to, the foreword to her book, Greater Britain After the Storm. Mordaunt was a cheerleader for those ruinous lockdowns. Here's The Guardian in November 2020, quoting her as saying, the UK can expect at least 3 COVID waves with lockdowns. Tory MP, says the paper, Penny Mordaunt, defending lockdown strategy as rebels warn they will not vote to extend the latest restrictions. Goodness, that was November 2020. Imagine if the rebels had had their way. We wouldn't have a broken economy, we wouldn't have a tsunami of mental health depression, and we wouldn't have a waiting list of 8 million people. A lot has been made of Mordaunt's military past. No disrespect, but we're talking about the Naval Reserves. A few weekends a year, training in a uniform. Creditable for sure, but not exactly full metal jacket, is it? Sorry, but less is Mordaunt for me. And to those Tory backbenchers considering mutiny, you have rolled the dice a few times now and you've got no goes left. You've got your leader, we've got our Prime Minister, and it's your job to sell the message of what Sunak has to offer. It's a controversial view, and let's be honest, I specialise in those. But whilst he may not be a particularly gifted politician, I think Sunak is a very solid Prime Minister. He's a decent administrator, a bank manager, a number cruncher, and frankly, I think we need that right now. Power sharing has been restored in Stormont thanks to his carefully crafted Windsor framework, which many said was never possible. Inflation is tumbling faster than Harry Kane in the penalty box. Britain has seen modest but solid growth compared to the Eurozone and Germany, who have languished in recession. Sunak has opted for a more sensible, affordable and practical approach to net zero, with a stay of execution for petrol and diesel cars and new gas licences in the North Sea until we've got enough renewables to keep the lights on. Talk of replacing him is nonsense. Better the devil you know. Now, Labour are odds on to win, but it's still my view that whilst the Tories are rightly hated and have had a disastrous few years, we finally got a grown-up in the room. You'll think I've had too much Guinness tonight. After all, it is St. Patrick's Day, but I honestly still think that Sunak edges it as the best potential CEO for the country over Starmer any day. Choosing Sir Keir over Rishi Sunak is like dumping your rubbish boyfriend only to get someone far worse, a boyfriend with tattoos, a motorbike and anger issues, still living with his mother. It's very clear that when the election happens, it's going to be a choice between Sunak and Starmer. And when people think long and hard about who they actually want in charge, the outcome could be closer than many think. And there's one other thing. illegal immigration. If Sunak can get those flights to Rwanda in the air, that will be a game changer for him and could move the dial politically. It ain't over till the fat lady sings, and at the moment, she's just having a pre-show gargle. Rishi still has time to deliver, sort out the economy, tackle the NHS waiting list, stand up for women's biology, end the woke nonsense, lower crime, and finally, once and for all, sort out illegal immigration. If Sunak stops the boats, there'll be no stopping him. Reports of his political death have been greatly exaggerated.